Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 87 of the MTB Podcast, presented and hosted by Worldwide Cyclery. I am Jeff.
I'm Jared.
And I'm Liam.
And in this episode, we have all sorts of fun things to tell you about. A couple big races that Liam recently did and some interesting, crazy stolen bike stories from Sea Otter. Jared's triathlon training and never-ending bike and part changes.
True.
How do you feel about that?
I feel great.
I can't even keep up.
No,
it's confusing. Can you keep up?
Not nearly anybody. I mean,
I try to keep up, and I see it, and then sometimes roll my eyes and let him do it.
hey man, he's just as bad as me. So.
We're also going to do a quick recap on the Chasing Epic trip that I recently did in North Carolina with a couple of the guys from our Pennsylvania store. That was pretty awesome. And of course, the main content of the episode, listener questions ranging from, did you just fart?
Chair.
You said it was a chair. Do you think it was a chair?
No.
Okay, anyways, off topic. Is AXS worth it? That is the electronic SRAM drivetrain, by the way, for those that didn't know. Tire pressure suggestions, favorite bikes ever owned, past or present, what color is a mirror, and if you'd rather have jelly as grease or grease as jelly.
Hardest question of all right there.
Yeah, that's a tough one. We'll save that one for
We'll
the
get
end.
that till later.
Or maybe the third one. We'll see. All right, DJ Meatball, play a sound effect. Well, Mr. Liam, let's jump right into your two big races you did, the BWR, Belgian Waffle Ride, and the CES Enduro. Talk about them.
I'm just going to go ahead and say I didn't really race them, and they're more like events, just to put it out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the CES Enduro? Wasn't that like a race?
It was, but I wasn't competing for much. I was just having a good time.
It's a good time in it?
Yeah. I think I talked a little bit about the Belgian Waffle last podcast, and I was had just said yes to it with a week and a half or 2 week notice. So I went and did it. It was pretty sick. I haven't done a big event like that. I haven't done a mass group start event like that. And
yeah, how many people did that?
I think it was probably 600 to 800 people.
Whoa. 600 to 800 people all starting at the same time?
They split this one up in a wave. So they had kind of the start, the men waffle, the full event went first. I was in that one. Then the women waffle, and then I think they call it the wafer, which is the shorter
one, right?
The shorter version. So I think they did 3 or 4 waves.
Is the wafer Belgium as well, or is it not?
It's probably from the country below it because it's not as big. So yeah, I did that. It was pretty brutal.
How many miles?
129.
On a gravel bike.
On a gravel bike.
How much elevation?
I believe 6,000 to 7,000 feet of elevation. So it actually isn't super climby for how many miles you did.
And it took you how long?
I finished in 8 hours, 6 minutes elapsed time, which is about I don't know, mid pack or so.
How many bathroom breaks?
Dude, I was...
You didn't count that? You don't record those on your Garmin?
So I was debating how I should go out, blah, blah, blah. I had friends that were kind of in the pro group. So I you know what? I got excited and I went out too hard. So a lot of the time I was pretty solo. I caught some pretty good groups for a while. Then the pro girls caught me. I rode them for probably 30 miles. They were shredding. And then around mile 80, my back really started to hurt. And I pretty much soft pedaled from mile 80 to mile 100 or so. And between mile 80 and 100 was a pretty dark place. Pretty delusional.
You're losing it?
I was losing it. Losing it. Actually, I saw Eric Bjork, one of our customers, at one of the aid stations. And I saw him, and he's like, how you doing? I'm like, dude, I'm cross-eyed, basically. I'm going to keep going. So, but he took off before me. So I didn't realize that I was at this aid station for the second time. You got to this aid station, then you went out and did a loop, and you looped back to the same aid station. So aid station 4 and 5 or 3 and 4, whatever it was, were the same, but you rode 20 miles between the two. So I didn't know that they were the same. I was that delusional, and I finished, and then one of our other buddies, Matt Bradley, was there, and I'm like, dude, where's Eric? He left the aid station in front of me. He should have easily beaten me. And he goes, I don't think so, man. So Eric came in an hour later. I'm like, what happened? He's like, dude, that was my first time there, and this was your second time there. And I was like, I didn't even know we did it twice. So, and then at a mile 100, I kind of got another wind. We had the like kind of final climb of the day, which was kind of like overhyped. It was overtalked, I thought. But I'm coming to life on the climb. So, finished strong and it was good. I think if I had better training and didn't blow myself out in the first 20 miles, probably could have knocked down like half an hour easy.
Yeah, it's a long time to ride a gravel bike.
Yeah.
Any bike.
Or any bike.
Any bike, yeah.
I would have been well bored.
Terrain, though, it was rough. And it was rough or sandy.
Yeah.
Like sand pits. Like you're flying down a gravel road at like 20 miles an hour, and then you hit some of those like bottom where the snow piles up in the winter. And in the summer, they're just 3 inches of sand.
Jeez.
So you're going 20, right into like 3 inches of sand right before the next roller. So you go to the roller like 0 miles an hour.
Oh.
And there's like 20 miles of that.
Wow.
But yeah. Yeah, then I did a California Enduro series outside of California in Ashland, Oregon.
Yeah, because they're kind of just all up the West Coast.
I think that's
roughly
the only one outside of California.
Doesn't make any sense.
But I don't care if it makes sense because Ashland is sick riding and it's my first time there.
Yeah, Ashland has a good reputation for mountain biking.
It was really fun. Like I actually raced it on my Revel Ranger, 130 front, 115 back, which just kind of beefed it up a little bit.
It's not an enduro bike.
And honestly, it's not. And honestly, I don't think I would have wanted any more bike for the trails we raced.
Really?
Yeah. Pretty mellow trails.
Yeah, really smooth stuff. Kind of like how Demo Force in Santa Cruz wants to be, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how Ashland is all over the place.
Smooth and flowing.
It was awesome, yeah.
That's
so, yeah, it's cool. I just want to go there and have a good time and not wad my brains out and
Push
ride
it.
with my buddies who, happen to all be racing pro class. So I also race pro class. So didn't care for a result, but had a really good time.
So that enduro race, was it single stage, multi-stage? Like, how does it work?
It was 5.
Tell me in layman's terms how an enduro race works for those that
there's
haven't
5
done it.
different stages. So the way we
all
did
in one
it,
day?
all in one day. You practice Friday, race Saturday. The way we did it as a pro class, you start off the day with the big shuttle to the top of the mountain. Then you raced, I think, basically 3 stages down the mountain. So you really didn't have to like do too much transfers or pedal at this time.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty sick. You just like pop in, race 3 stages down the mountain, get to the bottom, you chip in, you get some food, do whatever, and then you do the main big transfer, which is probably like an hour transfer. Then you race another stage, and then get to the bottom of that one. Then you transfer over to the final stage, race that one, finish down, and
So did any of the stages have any climbing in them, or are they pretty much all?
The first stage had, I think, 2 punchy climbs. I think it took me about 12 minutes to do this first stage, so it's pretty long, like stage to race. It's like, kind of like a what did you used to race? Super D.
Super D.
Super D.
Super D is like the original
Yeah.
enduro, which was essentially just single stage enduros.
Yeah, which is like what? You probably raced longer than 12 minutes, but
Yeah, well, that was what was funny about Super D back in the day. It was such a new category of mountain bike racing that there was no real clear definition to it. So some of them were 8 minutes, and other ones were 30 minutes.
Yeah.
They were kind of all over the place, and that was even just in the same like Norba National Series. So yeah, it was like an unevolved, rudimentary version of what enduro racing is today. Which I think people like enduro racing because you like what you said. You 5 stages, you kind of ride and race all day, and you get more riding and racing for your money. Type of thing.
Really, like I never raced an enduro at all. So like to me, I was just sick because that was the same thing I'd do with my buddies on the weekend. Yeah. Instead of going down like following each other, we just spaced it out by 30 seconds or a minute.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like it was pretty fun. So I had a good time doing that.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Have you ever raced an enduro?
I've never raced an enduro. Only like Sea Otter downhill, I think, is like the only race I've ever done, which is not really a downhill race. But
Does Sea Otter have an enduro race?
They do.
They do, right?
It's like a cross country stage race.
Yeah. Well, that terrain just doesn't really bode well for.
No.
It's just kind of some rolling, beautiful, grassy hills at Sea Otter terrain.
Yeah.
Yeah, enduro makes sense why it's getting so popular because it is a fun way to race. Like it's, unlike downhill racing where you just go and you practice 2 days and then have one shot for a 3-minute run.
Yeah.
Enduro racing, you have a lot more time to have fun, hang out, be social.
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot more riding and racing in per stage for like what you pay for, what you drove there for, essentially. So
Sold.
makes sense.
I want to do one.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Nice.
Speaking of Sea Otter, most of us didn't go to Sea Otter. I didn't go, but you went, Liam, just for a day.
Yep.
And what happened? What was the drama? Well, aside from quick recap on Sea Otter. Was it cool? I mean, was there people compared to last year? Like,
yeah, I mean, I kind of went with like low expectations. I had a couple meetings with a couple brands, so I went up, saw some people that I haven't seen in a long time due to COVID. And it was, without some of the big brands there's still a lot of brands and a lot of people. It was pretty popular. And I was only there on Thursday, which is like the least busy day, right? Like it gets busier through the weekend.
But it was a good turnout still, huh?
Pretty solid turnout. I think it was good. It was healthy. It's just nice to like be somewhere. There's no mask mandates, so I enjoy just like hanging out in an event. Like you haven't done that in like almost 2 years. So that was cool. And then, I mean, I feel like I've been talking for a while. How long of a story do you want this to be?
just tighten it up.
All right.
You're sleeping in your van.
Yep. So went out to dinner with the guys from Revel Bikes, went back to their place. I was sleeping in my van outside of their house with another guy also sleeping in his van right in front of me. Sleeping in our van, bikes were on the back while being locked up. We had already talked about if they would be safe or not, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll be sleeping in the van. They're probably good." And we're like at the beach in Monterey. Like,
yeah, it's a nice area.
It's a nice area.
It's a ritzy area.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure those beach houses are not cheap.
High class area.
So, next thing I know, I feel some shaking on the van and wake up, and someone's pulling my bike off the back. I bang on the window. Face him, like it takes me a second. It's 2:30 in the morning. I'm not very firing on all cylinders right away. Yeah. Takes me a second. I jump out the door. Chased him on foot, but he got away. Woke up my buddy in the van in front of me. Jumped in my van and just ripped down the street. I saw him for a second, but like the way this street was, there's like it's like a lot of beachfront neighborhoods. There's like an alley every like fourth house. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden it's pretty pitch black too. And just like kind of saw the guy out in the distance and he just disappeared. Probably jammed up an alley, hid out, had a car. I don't know. That was the last I saw of him.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy searched for an hour during the night with spotlights and stuff ready to go.
So kind of though, to clarify though, so the bike was on a hitch rack. That was locked up.
So there's 2 bikes on the hitch rack.
Had bolt cutters.
Yeah, he snipped the lock,
and then just ripped the bike off.
And he knew how to work a bike rack, and he knew how to ride a bike. So
yeah, moral of the story is bike thefts are on the rise because we're in a bike shortage, global bike shortage, right? All pandemic induced. Same reason inventory is a total mess. People are stealing bikes like crazy. So for everyone listening,
premium, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For everyone listening out there, be extra careful. I mean, kind of should have always been, but nowadays, bigger locks, put them inside, lock them up while they're in your garage, because there's stories of people breaking open garage doors and stealing bikes.
Just got it yesterday, and I'm going to install it when I get home. I'm putting a Ring camera inside my garage.
Nice.
Yeah. So
not a bad idea at all.
Figure it'll never really be used unless me and my roommate are in it. But if by chance, I got it. So
nice.
I'm a little paranoid now, but I've never had a bike stolen.
It's a bummer.
Major bike stolen like from my possessions. So I made a long time compared to some of my friends. So
hey,
yeah,
it happens.
Oh well, it's replaceable.
Yeah,
but it is a bummer. So
totally
more caution. Bikes, Jared.
Yeah.
Triathlon. Quick update on the triathlon training.
Well, I guess by the time this airs, I'll be like getting ready or pretty much heading out. It's in Catalina, so
Catalina Island
off
the coast of SoCal.
Do they have a wine mixer there?
They have a wine mixer.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, I've heard about a wine mixer.
Gotcha. I'm not too sure, but training, it's going good. I've been riding a lot, riding more than I've been running, and swimming. I haven't really swam at all. I swam like maybe once or twice.
You've gotten a pool.
Yeah.
Or the community pool there at your condo complex.
I haven't gone. No. But I'm going
you might want to just
I'm gonna swim.
Give it a try once or twice.
Yeah. I know how to swim, which is good. I'm going up to Lake Arrowhead where my family has a place up there, so gonna do some swimming up there. Mm-hmm. I got my wetsuit, feeling super athletic in that thing, ready to just jump in that water and throw my arms around.
Awesome.
Yeah, but that is the part I'm definitely like most, concerned about. I'm just gonna take my time, kind of like Liam's strategy for his race. I'm not really like trying to, podium or anything like that. Just if I make it through like under 2 hours, I'll be pretty stoked.
Yeah.
So running, I'll do fine. I've been riding. I've been dusting off my road riding stuff and like trying to get comfortable in that position.
Get back
again.
into spandex.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, and it's kind of fun, honestly. Like it's nice to like change it up a little bit and do a little run, do a little road ride, and then you get back on the mountain bike. You're like, oh yeah, no, this is like way more fun than those things.
Yeah.
You
that is
remind
true.
yourself how fun it is.
You find a lot of gratitude for mountain biking when you do other things that aren't mountain biking, and then you ride a mountain bike and you're like, wow, this is like this beautiful combination of fun and adrenaline and exercise and all of these things.
Right, and especially since I'm not gonna lie, I got a little burned out from last month's Universal competition, the mileage rate, which I want to update.
The shop
everyone.
challenge,
Yes.
where it was who can ride the most miles.
I beat
he
Zach,
did win.
by the way, who was a very gracious loser. And Zach is saying how,
we got second place.
We always throw some shade on Zach in the podcast, but he's saying maybe we say something nice about him this time. So Zach's a great guy. I just want to put it out there. Even though
he gave it his best shot. He's been riding his bike a lot.
But I think he could have done better because, I think if he just did a couple more rides.
Yeah, it was close. It was close, right?
No, it was close. He put up a good fight. He pushed me really hard, so I was appreciative of that. And, when Zach, he's a great motivator. I just love riding with him, and he'll push you. And
if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have beat him.
If it was, exactly.
See, he's a great motivator.
And I wouldn't have had drive to ride even more than I thought I could have.
Mm-hmm.
He made me realize that I could ride, way more than I thought I could. So it's awesome, grateful. But triathlon training, long story short, is going great. And then I think you were going to ask me about my bike.
Yeah, your never-ending bikes and part changes, because I think a lot of people here are totally lost and confused on what bike is your bike, what bike was supposed to be your girlfriend's bike, and then what bike was your dad's bike that then you rode, and then I just like... And then you're like, look what I did. And I'm like, I don't know what this is. Yeah, I remember you had a Ranger, but then you had another Ranger, and now it has different suspension. We're all lost. So
it's fair.
Give us some quick updates on what's your current arsenal?
A lot of us are lost, and we see it every day.
That's
still lost.
That's fair. I've got the same frame and the same components, except for the suspension. I just swapped to a Stepcast, a Fox 34 Stepcast 120 mil fork, and a DPS. And maybe
this is on your Revel Ranger.
On my Revel Ranger. And for those who maybe missed the last podcast, I had a 130 millimeter Fox 36 on the front and a Float X in the rear. So it's a little bit lighter.
It was all burly, and then you kind of went lighter weight.
It went lightweight, so I probably dropped at least a pound off the bike, maybe closer to 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds. But
why'd you do that? Why'd you switch the suspension back?
I took the suspension from my girlfriend's bike that I built for her, the SB100. They're laughing because she hasn't really ridden it much.
It's not about her riding it. It's about the fact that you built it so you could ride it or steal parts from it. That's what we're laughing at.
Exactly.
The second I saw that bike getting nice, I go, that's not your girlfriend's bike anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Guilty. All right. Well, I took the suspension off of that bike. I put it on this bike. Eventually, I mean, you guys are going to give me shit. Excuse me, pardon my French, but I want to get a Ranger for her to ride. And then, I'll get a bigger bike eventually.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, like a Raptor or something.
So, without her own choice, her bike has had suspension change, various part changes, and now she's getting a whole new bike. And she probably just was totally happy with the existing first one, right?
Yeah, she's upset with me because I keep on changing things and she doesn't have time to get used to what was on
Which is valid.
I guess it's valid. But don't worry. Eventually we'll get to a point where you're like, you'll get used to it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I just want to have her have a dialed bike and have a bike that we can both ride, and it'll be fun for either one of us. So. Yeah.
Nice.
I think you were there 2 months ago.
I was there.
He was close.
I was there.
All right, Jeff, you're, I think I've seen you twice since the last podcast.
Yeah, my travel schedule is as usual a bit crazy. Yeah, I haven't really been back in California much in the last 4 weeks. I recently, actually just right after the recording of the last podcast, went out to North Carolina with Chasing Epic, the mountain bike tour company. This was a second trip that we did with them in 2021. And this time was an East Coast version of it. So we went to North Carolina, Asheville to be specific, which Asheville, North Carolina is, I think, the mountain biking hub of the East Coast now. People are saying that.
Wow.
A lot of bike industry there, so Fox Suspensions got there.
Did you do that on purpose?
What did I do?
The hub, Industry 9, Asheville?
Oh,
come on.
No, didn't even catch it.
That one is over my head.
The hub of the East Coast, and then I mentioned the brand Industry 9, which happens to make hubs. That's what's so funny.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So a lot of bike industry is in Asheville now. Industry 9 is there.
Yeah, they are.
Cane Creek, Fox Suspension is there. Kitsbo's there. Who else is in? I feel like there's more. I'm missing something, but those are like kind of the big ones. I mean, Fox is the biggest one for sure.
Ones.
Asheville's awesome. It's a super cool town, and the Pisgah Forest is, right by Brevard, is kind of like the main area where a lot of people ride and have all these like famous trails that have got a lot of work done to them, and there's just like some like a great combination of like big elevation stuff, crazy rocky, rooty natural terrain, and there's some other stuff that's a little more man-made. DuPont is another area nearby, right outside Asheville as well, that has like some more flowy kind of, more novice trails that are really fun to ride. And so this trip we rode, it was kind of cool the way we did it. So we split it up each day, so 4 days of riding, and each day the whole group essentially got a choice, which we talked about at dinner the night prior, and it was like, do you want to ride a techie, challenging ride, or do you want to ride something a little more flowy? And so you get to choose, which was nice. And it actually worked out about half and half. Half the group wanted to go ride the techie stuff, and other people wanted to go ride the more flowy stuff. So it was a cool mix. It was a good mix. That way, like everyone that went on this trip, so there was about, I think 15 riders that went on the trip, and everyone kind of got to have something that they enjoyed each day, which was really cool. And then on Sunday, we went and rode Canoga, which is just outside of Asheville Bike Park. Good friend of mine is the co-owner there, Nico Mullally, and that's a pedal-up bike park. What's the pedal-up bike park we have out here in Cali? Sky Park. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never been there, but I would imagine it's kind of similar because it's like there's a couple ways you can go up, a single track or a fire road, and there's like a bunch of cool man-made trails you can ride down that are super well built. And
how long were like the descents typically?
I think it was like a mile up on the climb, and then I think the descents were anywhere from like 3 to 5 minutes, maybe, depending on which trail you rode.
Yeah, pretty similar.
Yeah. I like this idea of these like pedal up bike parks. Initially, I was just like, why would you pay money to go pedal up a hill? But now I like rode Canoga, and I was like, oh wow, this makes sense. Like
you're paying for maintained trail.
Yeah, and are just really well organized everything, right? Yeah. So it's like they have demo bikes there, they have a nice parking lot, the whole like infrastructure is well done, and like there's different ways you can ride up, which are well made and fun and casual, and then there's like all these different trails you can go down that are just super, super well built. Nico Mullally is a World Cup downhill racer, and so he kind of takes care of a lot of the trail building there, and it was really fun. So that was like kind of the highlight of to me, there's a highlight of that Chasing Epic trip was just riding the bike park day.
That sounds
which I really enjoyed. Luckily, no one got hurt. There was definitely some hard crashes.
Really?
There were some hard tumbles. Well, because you mix in jumps, right? You go to a bike park with a bunch of people. Everyone's having fun. It's Sunday. We've already been riding for 2 days. So yeah, it was good fun.
Nice.
But yeah, it was cool. It was a really good trip. I enjoyed that. Thank you, Chasing Epic, for helping us out with that. Those collaboration trips are cool. We've got another 2 of those scheduled for next year.
Ooh,
I think we're doing Idaho and Durango.
You're right.
Yeah. What's the Idaho one called again?
Sun Valley.
Yeah, Steve said that one's epic.
Durango. Yeah, so those are not 100% confirmed, but yeah, they're on the calendar right now.
Nice.
So yeah, stay tuned for that. That should be fun. Yeah, the North Carolina trip, instead of bringing in Jared and Liam with myself like we did in, where did we go?
Crested Butte.
Yeah, this time I brought Matt McCluskey and Mr. David Zapata, which both of those guys work in our Pennsylvania location. And they loved it, which was cool too, because those guys are familiar with riding muddy, rooty, rocky stuff, there's plenty of that in Asheville area. Luckily, the weather was amazing, that was my biggest opposition to that trip.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really want to go ride in the mud, and Steve at Chasing Epic's like, well, it might not rain. I'm like, oh no, it's probably going to rain. Like, look at the weather history. But no, the weather was perfect, so we got really lucky. So it was a good trip.
Nice.
All those trips go really well. They're super fun. It's just nice to have good professional local guides take you to all the great spots every time you go on a trip. So
there's nothing like it.
Yeah,
like you don't have to
there
do
really
any
is
of the like homework or like
you
stop
do
at
nothing.
every trail intersection and look at your map and like see if you're going the right way. You just follow the guy who knows all the best lines. It's like the best way to do it.
Yeah, it was one of those things to me. I would probably originally look at that 5-10 years ago and be like, why would I do that? I could just like kind of figure this out on my own. And then once you do it once, you realize like, this is awesome. It's like a local guide. Not only knows all of the local trails, you don't have to worry about anything, never have to look at your phone or your Garmin to figure out where you're going, but then they know like all the local restaurants and all the local like, hey, let's go swim in this river right at, like, it's just awesome. Like that's a really cool experience that in my opinion is worth the money. So that was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Well, before we hop into listener questions, let's run an advertisement from our sponsors.
Oh, please.
We love our sponsors.
We love our sponsors. Thank you, sponsors. You really help support us.
Do you get hungry? Do you eat food? Are you sick and tired of the same old fake food being sold to you everywhere? Introducing Cat 3 Charcuterie, delicious performance snacks for the discerning cyclist. Forget the artificial protein bars and gross gummy snacks, and try one of our 3 amazing snacks: peppered salami and provolone, prosciutto and sharp cheddar, or gabagool and gouda. Visit your local health store to find out more.
Tire pressure. I found Envy has at least the best starting point. This is always a debate on how long you can go, especially when you go how low you can go.
How low you can go.
Especially when you get to inserts tubeless, tubular.
Tubular, dude.
What does it mean by Envy has at least
Envy
the best?
has a chart. I know for sure they have one for gravel that's pretty useful. So it's got like rim width, a couple different options, tire width, a lot of options, and then it goes down by your weight. So you can kind of just follow the chart, find your zone. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. Like, it's definitely for like at least the one I've looked at is like for pure gravel riding, like you're spending most of the day in the dirt.
Do they have the same thing with mountain bikes?
I'm not sure. Let's Google.
Because, I think people ask this question all the time. And my take on tire pressure, of course, like if you're a novice and you have no idea where to start, and then it's helpful to know.
I have a good one.
What?
So back in the day when Stans was one of the only names in tubeless.
Yep.
They had this thing where like you took your body weight, divided it by 7, and then you minused 1 for the front and added 2 for the rear.
Sorry, tell me that one more time.
This is ridiculous. This is college algebra, dude.
Did you say divided by 7?
Your body weight divided by 7.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up a calculator real quick.
It's
See if this is accurate.
This is Harvard level calculus.
Oh, come on now. That's kind of an insult to
Harvard.
Harvard.
They do have one for mountain as well. So,
all right. Well, hold on. Before this crazy formula, you need to know some relevant starting point. But I think what really matters, body weight's a huge variable. Tire size is a big variable. But really, like where you're riding, right? And like that's another big variable. If you're riding like good smooth trails with no rocks and you're never denting your rims, like that's a totally different scenario than if you're just riding like blitzed, fast, rough, sharp, rocky trails all the time. So that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it does.
But I'll say, what you just said is pretty much bang on for what I run.
What'd you do?
185 pounds, which is like roughly what I'm at right now. Divided by 7 brings me to 26 and a half, basically. And you said, what, minus 1 for the front, which I'd normally run about 25 in the front, and then add 2 for the back, and I normally run like 28 in the back. So it's
Why didn't you tell anyone this later? Earlier.
I should have gone to Harvard.
Did you make this
Harvard,
up?
Dude.
No, Stans did, dude. I cannot take credit for this.
Conspiracy. You looked up my weight and...
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good.
Okay, Liam, how much do you weigh?
$150, maybe 145. I'm gonna say right now, while he's doing that math, the Envy mountain bike chart's a touch low, on my opinion.
So that means that according to Stans, you should be running 20 psi in the front, 22 in the rear.
That's way too low.
Or no, excuse me, 23 in the rear.
If I was running...
That's too low.
Yeah, if I was running like straight XC and I wasn't like doing jumps, I could probably get away with that for sure.
Yeah.
But I run 23 to 24 in the front, 25, 26 in the back. And that's kind of pushing it low. I definitely hit rim, but it's a good balance between traction and not rolling the tire off.
Yeah, I definitely like running lower. I mean, if I could be between 20 and 25, like that's my... Like, the bike ride's so good in that, but I'm just afraid to flat.
Jeff does 24, 28.
You do 24, 20.
Yeah. Or 24, 27. But I like the rear tire pretty firm because I really don't want it to have that much traction. And I also don't want to have to worry about that tire. Like, I just don't want to worry about that rim and it dinging. And, like, I just don't really think I need that much traction there. And I don't typically ever have an issue with 28 PSI when it comes to, like, climbing traction. So I'm good with that.
Do you think that there is anything like... For instance, if I wanted to run like 22 in the front and 28 in the rear, is it like that big of a difference? Like,
I don't think that matters. I mean, the biggest thing is like if you're actually like pushing hard into a corner, like a dual slalom racer would like push into a corner, you're just gonna roll that tire over if the pressure's too low. So like on a high speed like sweeper corner, you're gonna love the pressure that low, right?
Yeah.
But on like a sharper like banked corner where you're pushing into it, that thing's gonna roll.
If I could
So you
roll the
can't-
tire off my front wheel, I would be really stoked.
Well, just
You
put
don't
18
want
psi
to.
in there, and
Yeah.
I bet you you will.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
right, I
You're
probably
gonna
could.
face bite it if you do. Roll the back if you're
Because
gonna
I
roll
probably
one.
wouldn't be that stoked,
Yeah,
like,
so
whoa.
that's the problem with going low. Is like if your tires could essentially never go flat, you really wouldn't just want to go lower and lower and lower and lower because eventually the bike becomes like wandering,
Right.
squanders, and
Yeah.
like the tires roll. And so there's a limit to like how low you can go, even if
Right.
the tires could never go flat. And that depends on your weight, how hard you're pushing the thing into corners,
Mhm.
all
Your
that sort
riding
of stuff.
style.
Yeah.
Like XC guys, I mean, they are light, but they run like 16, 18 psi.
Right.
I don't know how they do that and don't roll the tire off the rim.
It's because they're probably not like.
But they're
just-
not pushing it.
They're not
They're
riding
they're
super
not-
aggressively in terms
Yeah.
of like their bike handling, right?
Exactly.
Depends on what level of XC. World
Well,
Cup
you know what I
XC,
mean? They're
they're
not, like-
shredding.
They're not like shrouping, or like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, they're probably
They're
trying to like.
smooth.
I mean, yeah, it
conserving
depends on where
energy.
you're at, like
Yeah.
skill level wise, right? Like if you
Yeah.
went to a local race and watched like a Cat 2 XC race, like correct, yeah, people are not going, they're not shrouping their rear tires. But like if you watch the Olympics and watch World Cup XC racers, like yeah, they kind of
Yeah.
are like
Yeah.
slamming into
Yeah.
ruts fast, you
Yeah.
know. So, but yeah, so I don't know. I mean, tire pressure is kind of complicated, but I don't know. I think that Stan's method is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I always
It's good,
have
at least
people-
a great starting.
Yeah,
point
I always
for
have people
to go.
start there. Like I
Yep.
think it's a pretty good place to start.
for
And
mountain at least.
if you're denting rims or blowing out stuff,
Yeah.
then go up a few
Or
more
just
from
dinging
that.
it at all,
Dinging,
right? Like
yeah.
if you're dinging it
Yeah.
or you're feeling it roll under you, then add PSI.
Yeah. If
And
you
vice
ever-
versa. If you never ding and you never feel it wander, like keep lowering
Yeah.
it until you do and find that balance.
If you
Yeah.
ever end a ride and you have a bunch of X's on your Maxxis tire on the sidewall, it pretty much means you're rolling the tire in corners and you have either too low PSI or like just on the limit.
Yep.
So that's a good indicator too.
Nice.
Cool. Well, stance calculation one more time.
Body weight divided by 7 minus 1 PSI for the front, add 2 PSI for the rear.
Boom.
Damn.
Try
Pretty good.
that out.
There's your starting point.
Boom.
It's a calculation. Next question. Do you think super enduro bikes are too big and companies should go enduro or downhill? It's kind of a funny question. I mean, I think historically downhill bikes, and really still are, 8 inches of travel, right? Dual
Yep.
crown forks, full blown, big, long, low, slack, long travel, crazy beasts of mountain bikes that are super fun to ride, albeit they essentially can't go uphill at all. Super enduro bikes are like 7 inches of travel.
Like
6 or
170, 180s.
yeah, they're like 7 inches of travel, but they can actually pedal and they're fairly light. And the Geo's not quite as aggressive as a full blown downhill bike.
Well, some are.
Yeah, some are
some
pushing
are.
it, but they're still like a lot more pedalable than
Yeah.
a downhill
Oh,
bike
yeah.
is.
They're designed to pedal.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think there is some like line there between like a 7-inch travel bike that you can use for enduro and then a full blown downhill bike. I mean, full blown downhill bikes are just totally different, right? Like the bottom brackets are so low for handling reasons, and there's no consideration of really like being able to pedal it on a climb because
Yeah.
that's not what the bike's for. Whereas like this quote unquote super enduro, like 7-inch travel bike, there is a consideration of if you can actually pedal that thing on a technical uphill climb and not have the pedal slam into the ground constantly. So I don't know. They're still different bikes. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I still see them as different.
Yeah, they're definitely different bikes. I will say though that super enduro bikes are almost taking the spots of some downhill bikes. Second and third place at Red Bull Rampage last week was on a basically super enduro bike.
Yeah.
It was on a Evo Insurgent, was second place with Kurt Sorgi, and Yeti SP165 with Reed Boggs
Yeah.
with dual crowns.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
They ride-
basically,
They can ride the gnarliest stuff. So
yeah. I mean, what I was going to say is like, honestly, a super enduro bike is like the perfect case for a place like Whistler where, I mean, if you want to go ride the park, all day, you could do that. And then if you want to go like pedal and do trails, you could do that too.
Mhm.
I mean, and this was really just about like where you live and what trails you ride. But like, there is going to be a bike for nearly everywhere, when you think about it.
Yeah.
It just depends on where you live and where you ride.
Yep. Yeah, and your preferences.
Yeah, and your
What you want to
preferences.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah.
Cool. Well, much more importantly, the next question is: would you rather have jelly as grease or grease as jelly?
Oh, gross. You first.
I mean, I obviously don't want to eat grease, so I would rather have grease as jelly, right? Not jelly as grease. Or did I get that backwards? This
you would rather have grease. No, you'd rather have.
I'd rather put like jelly
grease.
on my bottom bracket than put grease on my toast.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of jelly.
Yeah.
Peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
Yeah.
That's just one of fly for
jelly's
me.
good.
I'm gonna have to agree because like even if I have to service my bottom bracket and like re-jelly it every couple days, re-jelly my headset, and then I mean the best part about this is you could just keep some jelly with you all the time, and then you have a snack.
Yeah, I have
grease.
something to admit.
You've done it.
No, I just wanted to tell you a story about eating grease and stuff.
Oh God,
What were you gonna say?
Well, I have two things.
We don't need to go that in depth on this topic.
Well, I actually don't think jelly would be that bad as a grease. If I'm
might
being
not.
honest. Some real thick stuff. Oh yeah,
I think you're right.
Pretty solid.
Grape.
My admission is when I was a teenager and I worked at a local bike shop. Another guy who worked alongside me was the owner's son. We were the same age. He was a good guy. And another person who worked there was his younger brother, who was 6 years younger. So at the time, he was probably, I don't know, 11 or 12, 13, something like that. And we used to find funny ways to get him to eat stuff like grease or WD-40 or spokes, like anything.
Spokes?
I feel. Well, let me explain. We put half of a spoke in a Subway sandwich once.
No, you didn't.
Yep,
My God.
we did. Just those things you do when you're a 17-year-old and you look back and you're like, what was I thinking? I was
Did he
a
break
total
teeth?
jerk. I mean, it probably hurt. I don't think he broke his
That
tooth,
would hurt.
but it probably hurt. He did bite into it. But we even at one point, we took a Starburst and we took a little like a pick and we poked a hole into the Starburst and then we put a WD-40 little red tube inside of that and then sprayed a little WD-40 in there and then like put the Starburst back in the bag and he like ate that. He's like, oh, and just we'd watch this. I mean, it was so funny. But of course, like we put Park Polyloop grease on his food all the time and like without him before he looked. I mean, it was one of those things that it was hilarious back then, but you look back and you're like, wow, when I was a 17-year-old kid, I was just totally heartless. Like, why would I? But you know how you like, I mean,
What did
it
he
was
ever
his younger
do to you?
brother. Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. It was his younger brother. You mess with your younger brother, and I was an accomplice to that crimes. And yeah, it was pretty funny.
Okay.
So
You were an accomplice.
he never died. He's alive and well. Yeah, he's doing great. So
Not yet.
yeah, so he's all good. He's all good. Everything's fine with him. But anyways, he did eat quite a bit of grease.
That is disgusting.
Okay, is the kettle bib back in stock? It
Yes.
finally
it is.
is. Yeah, so for all of you that know the apparel brand we own, Kettle Mountain, we make a really nice bib called the Canyon Bib. Got a super nice Italian-made chamois and 3 pockets. And
It's the best bib.
it's a really super good, high-quality bib with a lot of thoughtful features. And it is finally back in stock, so hit the Worldwide Cycler site or the Kettle Mountain website and get yourself a super nice bib for your tushy if you're looking for that right
Get
now.
it while it's hot.
Hurry up, because I'm about to buy them all.
Yeah, they're probably going to sell out by
I already got 2
December.
today. I've got to re-up on my bibs, you know?
Yeah, never hurts.
You can only deal with so many stains.
Yeah. That's why people buy new bibs.
Yeah.
Or-
All right.
I've been doing it wrong.
Oh, no.
Is AXS worth it?
I'm going to start this one off.
Well, okay, context, just in case. AXS, SRAM AXS, AXS, their electronic mountain bike drivetrain, which they make in X01, XX1, and GX.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So just in case people didn't know. All right,
Yeah.
is it worth it? Go ahead, Jared.
I'm going to say 100% yes.
What's your reasoning?
My reasoning is that one of my least favorite things to do is adjust shifting. And since I've put the axis on my Ranger, I haven't had to adjust it once over the course of several hundred miles. And it shifts perfectly every time, assuming my, drivetrain is like relatively clean and chain is lubed, which would be for any shifter and trailer, right? But yeah, that is my main reasoning, is that it shifts perfectly every time and almost instantaneously, and I don't have to adjust it. All I have to do is charge the battery, and I can hold the button down and it'll shift for me continuously.
That is cool. That is a cool feature.
Flying downhill and I come to a super punchy steep hill and I can hold it down and it goes into my easiest gear, like that's the coolest thing ever. drop the mic.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you got anything to add to that, sir?
I mean,
valid points.
I agree with everything Jared just said.
Awesome.
Exactly. All those reasons. Another reason, I mean, it takes a cable off your bike and it looks sick.
Yeah, that does. That is
And
nice. Yeah.
the third reason, or the last reason I have that's important-ish, is when you travel with a bike, you can just take the whole derailleur off your bike and wrap it in a whole bunch of
that
stuff
is convenient.
and put it in the middle of the bike. And that's it. And then the batteries are so small, I always have an extra one like around me or in my van or like in my gear bag.
Yeah.
Like I've got like 4 extra batteries that just float around.
It's true.
Just gotta make sure they're charged.
All right. Well, I mean,
Here's devil's advocate. What do you got?
Yeah.
I mean, I believe it. A lot of people absolutely love AXS and have bought it and enjoyed it. I personally don't always run it on my daily driver bikes because maybe I'm just old school at this point, but I just love that like raw, clicky shifter cable, your thumb connected directly to that derailleur via a nice rigid shifter cable. Like I just like that feel. It's like more tactile to me. I also like riding bikes and to get away from electronics a little bit.
I know exactly why you don't have it. It's because you have an 11 speed on your bike.
Oh, that's a problem too.
Technically, he has 12 speed. On
Yeah,
his
on
bike.
the
right. Okay.
Ranger, I have 12 speed.
You've
Yeah.
got 11.
And he is a
12
personal
speed.
mechanic, so he never has to actually adjust it like you said.
That's
yeah,
true.
my opinion on this is a bit skewed because one,
Bike is always dialed.
I always have a dial bike because I ping around between 3 mountain bike shops, and I can have a mechanic there to work on it at any time I want. So that's a little bit of a ridiculous perk to my position here at Worldwide Cycler.
Unattainable for many. That perk right there.
If you own 3 bike shops, it's kind of convenient because you have a mechanic that works on your
might
bike all the
not
time that
need
are really
access.
good. Yeah. So okay. The whole shifting. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Come to think of this, I don't have anything else to say.
I do get the aspect of like not having batteries, not adding complication to your bike. You're like literally on your phone and computer 16 hours a day.
Yeah, I use the electronics a lot just
So
for work.
you
So I
wanna
kind of
plug
want to
out,
yeah, exactly.
I get it.
I want to tune out of that. I want my bike to have this. It's almost like, just an example. My mom has a 2001 Mazda Miata. It's a Nardi edition, has a supercharger.
Ooh.
And it's like,
nice.
it's cool. It's a really cool little car. My mom loves it. And
Is it a manual?
yeah, it's of course. Yeah.
Perfect.
It's and when you drive that thing, it's like manual transmission, and you can tell immediately when you drive that car that the gas pedal is connected with a wire.
Yeah.
And it's just, new cars aren't like that at all, right? And it's like you drive that thing and it just feels like this like fast, like, I don't know, there's something.
You should say the gas pedal is connected by a cable because the new ones are connected by a wire.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, I knew what you
Connected by a cable.
Yes.
Yeah. Not electronically, right? And so I like that. That's a cool feel. And to me, that's like how like
Feels raw.
it feels
Yeah.
raw, like how a shifter feels when
Oh.
it's connected with a derailleur cable as opposed to this electronic feel. So I don't know, maybe it's a tactile thing. But yeah, you're right. This concept of like all the things you mentioned, especially the fact that you can just hold the button down and it just shifts kind of limitless gears. That's that is cool.
I will say,
people
though,
love it. I don't think I've met anyone who like went back away from it. Like they get it, they
No.
get used to it, and they love it.
Yeah.
I will say the only thing for me, it took me a while to make the jump because I felt like if you make the jump on one bike, you gotta make the jump on all bikes.
Yeah.
Because it's such a difference of like just minute, but like when you go to shift when you're pedaling on that hill or like this and that, and like the way the paddles feel, like it's all a little bit different. So
Yep.
if you're jumping back and forth, to me that was too much, and I just want to forget when I'm riding a bike. I don't care if it's got electronics. I don't care that. I just want to be sitting there thinking about, okay, I
You
gotta
wanna be
shift
used to
this
it.
button here.
Yeah,
Like, I just want it to be
makes
the
sense.
action.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like running. Like if you have 3 or 4 different bikes, you want them to all have the same width handlebars,
Exactly,
and like
yeah.
your brake
Yep.
levers positioned the same across all of them. Like that's just really convenient. So
Totally. The
Yeah.
setup
Yeah.
preference is key.
yeah,
All right,
wow,
cool.
what bike snobbery! Like we're going on here. Like
so
if,
jaded.
I know.
if you have 4 bikes and you go to AXS, you have to change them all to AXS because that's just how you gotta have the same feel across. Like,
There's no way I could possibly stand going back to mechanical on my
Yeah.
extra bike.
oh man, it's so true.
God, sorry everybody.
More importantly, next question: Pop-Tarts or protein bar?
Ooh.
What do you got, Jared?
Both.
Okay.
How about a Pop-Tart protein bar?
It's a brilliant idea.
All right.
Sell that.
Jared just left Worldwide to go work for Kellogg or whatever.
Yeah, it's product innovation over there. Kellogg's.
Jared has left the chat.
I'm gonna go with kind of neither.
This is like for a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or in
I
general.
don't know. That wasn't specified.
Wasn't specified.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go Pop-Tart. Why not?
Pop-Tarts are pretty good though,
They
but
are.
only like 2 flavors, 3 flavors.
But only if you can
Vegetable.
toast them. If you can't toast them.
Yeah.
Not
I'm a
as
big
good
brown
not
sugar
toasted.
guy here, but
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
that cinnamon Pop-Tart with like the
s'mores.
brown sugar s'mores cinnamon. That one is good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm more of a fruity.
Oh, you like the
I like blueberry,
fruity
strawberry. Yeah,
one? Yeah.
but that's like my pie flavor.
just-
Mhm.
I just don't. I'm so over protein bars, man. I
Yeah,
don't like eating them.
I know. Anchovies, Nate Hills. No, excuse me, sardines.
Sardines.
That's
Nate
the
Hills. When
trail
he came
snack.
out here and you were asking about trail snacks and
Yeah.
he said sardines.
Mm-hmm.
No way. I'm a big peanut butter jelly guy.
That sounds good
I'll whip
too.
them out everywhere. My
Yeah.
favorite.
Dang.
Hmm.
Well, maybe not everywhere, but
PB&J.
Oh,
Well,
unless I ate them all.
Jeff, what's your favorite chain lube
my favorite.
for SoCal?
This is gonna bounce off Jeff.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and do what I do at work most time and delegate this question. Yeah, I mean, I haven't, I don't even remember, dude. Like, it's been a long
Yes.
time since I like really was like nerding out on chain lubes and stuff. Essentially, for me, for SoCal, and really even anywhere, I like a dry-ish chain lube, like a clean chain lube. Like, I
Yeah.
do not like gummy, gooey drivetrains at all.
Yeah.
I get it when you go out and ride the East Coast, especially when you're doing more than 10 miles. Like, I feel like if you use a chain lube that would last 30 miles out west in the dust, it's going to last you 7 miles
Yeah.
when you're riding in Pennsylvania and there's
Yeah.
mud and water. So, like, I get why you need a different lube if you're riding in more mud and water, but I don't know. So, I try and always avoid these, like, more wet-based
Yeah.
gummy lubes unless I absolutely need them. Yeah, so in SoCal, I want something that's, like, certainly dry and is not going to be gummy and sticky and probably wear off in 10 miles. But that's fine because I typically do 10 to 15 mile rides and then bike gets a little quick service and chain lube goes on there. So
most dry lubes.
most dry lubes. I don't have like a huge complaint or preference between any dry lube for that sort of stuff. But
Yeah.
but once again, yeah, I haven't really. I'm not as deep into these weeds as.
Yeah, I've recently just got real deep into this weeds. I even have like a spreadsheet going. It's
Oof.
ridiculous. I made my roommate record her stuff because she actually was the one who got me started on it because she was just complaining to me all the time. Liam, my drivetrain, my lube sucks. it doesn't work. It's dry all the time. You got me a bad bottle. Like over and
Didn't
over.
shake it.
So then I came home with 6 lubes.
Yeah.
And I said, this is what we're doing. We're going to try them all. Clean your chain, strip your chain, try this one for 3 times, write it down. Do this one 3 times, write it down. Do this one 3 times, write it down. So I got real in the weeds. Pretty much came to, I think, Maxima Dry Lube is probably the best all-around lube for an
I like that one.
easiest application for like the average rider. You're not like super uptight about keeping your drivetrain super clean, or maybe you forget to lube here, or like you forget and you lube it right before you go ride. I think that's like probably the best, just all-around average lube. It works great, lasts a decent time. The next one that I'm most stoked on is going to liquid wax-based lube. Getting fancy, but is Squirt, which is kind of like one of the first names in that liquid wax-based lube. And that one, you got to be a little bit more
Liberal.
premeditative. You got to plan a little bit more
Yeah.
with that one. So like strip your chain down, even for like Belgian waffle ride, did a gravel bike, stripped it down.
Yeah, did you lube your chain over 120 miles of riding?
Yeah, so funny actually. I did 2 coats of lube on it. They said do 2 coats for a longer ride. So I did 2 coats. You let it dry for like 10 minutes, do another coat, let it dry the night before your event. So I did that. And then I did bring a little Squirt top off one. But I was probably like mile 65 and it felt pretty good. And then a pro girl came up to me and asked me if I had any chain lube. So I said, yeah, I do. So I gave it to her and she got about maybe halfway through lubing her chain and dropped it. We were doing like 20 miles an hour. So that was...
Trying to lube it while you guys riding?
Yeah, you don't stop when you do that stuff.
Whoa.
So I was like pushing her along and she's like trying to lube it
No way.
and dropped it. But I didn't need it.
didn't
So
stop?
I did,
Drop
I did it.
chain while right. What?
No, she
Didn't
dropped my
stop?
chain lube
Oh.
while coasting along.
I thought you were saying drop
I
chain.
didn't stop.
like,
No,
whoa.
I was just in this pack. You don't really stop.
We don't know enough about this road bike kind of thing.
So
sorry.
The Squirt 2 pass lasted like 130 miles, and I used it on mountain bike, and I dig it too. You just have to. It doesn't work well if you like just put it on and then go ride. You have to let it. You've got to at least give it like 15, 20 minutes to dry. So my suggestion to my roommate was come back from your ride, immediately wipe down your chain, immediately put Squirt on it, go on with your day, and go change. And it's always good for you next time you come to your bike.
Okay. Good point. Well, to talk about some other things, just to bring it up real quick, Muck Off Dry Lube is currently the best-selling chain lube on the Worldwide Cyclery website.
What I was going to say is that's my favorite dry
And then
lube.
it's WPL. Oh, sorry, that's a Fork Boost Seal lubricant. That stuff is cool for seal lube.
That stuff is flying off the shelf.
What's our second best-selling chain lube? Let me see. Okay. Wait, so you use the Muck Off Dry Lube?
Yeah, I use the Muck Off Dry Lube, and it works really good. I actually tried that, and then I tried the ceramic one, which I guess is a little more towards
ceramic C3 is the second best selling.
Yeah, that one I like, but it gums up the drivetrain a little bit.
Also made by Muck Off.
Yeah, Muck Off C3 ceramic is also really good, but maybe not more of a wet lube. I want to say
Rock and Roll Gold Lube.
Rock and Roll
is also good.
Is great and clean, but I found it just doesn't last that long.
Right. Yeah, maybe if you're on a long ride.
Sounds like something I would like.
Your chain will be screaming at you.
Yep.
But yeah, I like the Muck Off stuff. But this other part to this question is WD-40 a viable chain lube?
Well, that's kind of confusing because
it is confusing.
Like OG WD-40 from Home Depot, or like WD-40's new
bike line
of lubes.
I think this person's probably referring to traditional WD-40.
Okay, answer both. Traditional old school WD-40 in the aerosol can, absolutely not. That's not meant to be chain lube.
It's not actually lubricant at all.
Yeah, it's a water displacement that like removes grease, and it's like a degreaser. It's totally different. No, never put that on your bicycle. Never put really anything that comes in an aerosol can on your chain. But WD-40's bike line, we don't have a ton of experience with that, but that's a totally different thing. That's like made specifically for bikes by people who ride mountain bikes.
Pretty good. I found the dry stuff, like I used it years ago. It was like a little bit gunky, but not bad. Just a little bit gunkier than I liked it. I like a super clean bike. I'd rather have a noisy, clean chain than a quiet, dirty chain.
Fair.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just a tip, if you hit any category on the Worldwide Cyclery website, it's the default sort order is best selling, and especially a popular category like chain lubes or tools or whatever. There's a lot of data behind that. So curious what actually is selling really well, and typically things sell really well on our site because a lot of mountain bikers are buying them and they work good and they continue to buy them. So any category you look at, if you want to actually see good, relevant products that are selling the best, that's the default sort order on the website for a reason. So if you go there right now, you can pretty quickly see which chain lubes are best selling, and those are a lot of the ones we just mentioned. So, yeah. That's cool stuff.
All right, we're giving away a lot of really good information on this podcast.
A lot of good information.
Yeah, I think.
Should we put it behind a paywall?
Monetization is in the future.
Speaking of which, let's hear an ad from one of our sponsors that pays us at minimum $10,000 a month.
Looking to give your Chrysler Voyager that custom touch? Check out Voyaging Voyagers Off-Road. We have been providing aftermarket modifications for your Chrysler Voyager for years. We are now offering wheels, tires, suspension kits, roof racks, rock sliders, light bars, and more. Check us out at voyagingvoyagersoffroad.com. Wow, this is a hard question.
What are your all-time favorite bikes you've ever owned, past or present?
Really hard question. Do you want me to start? You're looking at me like you want me to start.
Are you
more
ready
time
to start?
Can I? Yeah. Okay, well, this is bikes plural, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to start in order of travel from shortest to the longest.
You guys ready for a year?
Yeah, I was going to say. I'm trying to go home at some point today, Jerry.
Okay. Closest to cross country, I'm going to say SB100, and then down country, I'm going to say my Revel Ranger currently, and then I'm going to say my lunch ride Yeti SB130 I had last year, maybe almost 2 years ago now. To be fair, I haven't ridden a Rascal, so it's probably up there. I have not, actually, yeah. I know. It's surprising. Dude. It's shocking. And then from there, I'm going to go SB150, my Yeti SB150 that I just sold, actually. And then Oh yeah. Oh, you're getting tired of me.
Oh, I totally lost already. Like this is keeping track of this answer is like keeping track.
I just
of
took
what
this
current
question
bikes
as
you
like
have
what
and you're
one
changing.
you have.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You're one.
Okay.
Sorry,
You're one.
I mean, I didn't have
favorite bike.
You're right. It does say bikes plural.
It
but
says
it's
bikes
not,
have owned past, present,
Yeah.
or.
It doesn't say bikes.
It says yeah. We just Liam just deleted the S.
And then I'm gonna throw in my old Santa Cruz Nomad for
Old time's sake.
Old time's sake, because that was a
It's
really
just
fun bike.
nostalgic.
How many
dude.
bikes can you ride at once? One. Good job.
You
could
ride
ride
with
one.
one holding it next to you.
Yeah.
There you go. That's my answer.
Oh, cool. That didn't really help anything at all. But
All right, Jeffy Jeff.
Well, that's the question I answered. What
I mean, you just named all these good bikes you've recently had, but
Bikes I've
which
never owned.
okay, your answer does make more sense if people saw the spreadsheet of other bikes you'd also owned, like within the last 5 years. You know what I mean?
That is like all the bikes I've owned in the last 5 years.
Okay.
Okay, what I had Mondraker.
All right.
Yeah. Now this is what would land us here all night. All right. So thank you. Those are your favorite bikes.
Yeah, those are them.
Thanks
all
for
right?
your answer,
Well,
Jared.
yeah, get out of here.
Yeah.
What are your favorite bikes, Mister? I get a new.
Guy loves bikes.
Mister.
My favorite bike, past or present. Yeah, you're right. This question is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now that you.
Oh, come on.
Okay, I'll give you two answers.
I already know the answer.
The first thing that popped into my head was the Uno Dash.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Yeah, knew that.
Uno, extremely high, like the most expensive mountain bikes on the planet. Boutique, handmade in Barcelona.
The creme de la creme.
The creme de la creme of mountain bikes. As
Wait,
I
wait.
like to say. Wait. But it's Spanish, so.
Not a French brand.
Yeah, not a French brand, to be clear. I love that bike. The look of it, the fact that they only make 50 of them a year, everything about that. I had a custom painted one. No one else had that. Like, I'd never even seen one in person until we got that one and became dealers for Uno. I love that thing. Uno is like in between years right now, and they're going to be launching a bunch of new stuff next year. So stay tuned for that if you're really curious on that brand. But I don't know. That's the first one that's like come to my mind because that was like that bike to me was the one I looked at and I was like, this is an epic bike.
It was like yours.
Yeah, it was
Like,
like
you saw
nobody has this. It's custom painted. It was like one of 50. It was just so I really, really liked everything about that bike and how it looked and like how rare it was. And I don't know, I just enjoyed that. And obviously it worked, the suspension platform worked good. Geo was good. I really liked all of it.
It was special.
It was special. Exactly. It was. So that's like the first thing that pops into my mind. The second thing that pops into my mind when you say that is like, well, I have like all these really cool, good bikes that like the Revel Ranger that I ride right now. That I'm in love with that bike. I think that ride's super good. The old Yeti 4.5, I really enjoyed that bike. I think that was like
fork.
this, like with the turquoise fork. That one that I built looked really good, and that bike was just like a perfect balance of like lightweight pedal efficiency, but still capable. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that Yeti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I guess those are the other things that pop into my
What about
head,
like big bike?
Big bike?
Like downhill or enduro bike? Like what's your favorite ever?
Oh, I had a Da Vinci Wilson, like the fairly recent one. Yeah, the carbon one. That was like my
Nice.
full-blown 8-inch travel downhill bike that I really
Sick.
enjoyed. I had like a different Da Vinci Wilson. I got like a new one every year for like 4 years in a row.
Nice.
And I love that thing. So, yeah. But I'm not going to Whistler every summer, so I don't build a downhill bike anymore. But maybe one day. Bring that back one
You
day.
mean next year?
Oh, I mean, hopefully. Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
One day when the world's slightly more normal and we can just freely travel to Canada riding mountain bikes easily.
Right.
That'd be cool.
All right, Liam.
What do you got?
I'm going to keep it pretty simple. It was, up until probably a few months ago, the Yeti SP 4.5. I think Yeti was super ahead of the time on that one. It's basically downcountry before anyone made up downcountry.
That was like the first of its kind.
For reference, it was a 140 fork with 114 mil of rear travel, 29-inch wheels. Pretty slack and low for like when it first came out in like, what, 2015?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of pioneered that segment to some extent. That
It
like
was-
aggressive, lightweight trail bike, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And
thing
it
was
and
rad.
it was lightweight and it pedaled really well. I'd say the other one is not my favorite bike, but just mention it. The first Evo Following really like
Oh yeah, that was cool.
pushed
That was
29 short travel ahead of his time, but that wasn't my favorite bike. Now, I think it's changing, and I think my current Revel Ranger, the way I have it built up, is my favorite. I have it a little over forked with the 130 pike, wide wheels, good brakes, and that to me, it kind of just does what the Yeti 4.5 did to me. 130 fork, 115 rear, and like good geo. Just on a bike that fits a water bottle and is new and modern. So.
More than just one water bottle too.
Yeah, true.
And it's versatile. Like you can make it a lightweight, cross country bike, or you can make it, burly, like beefy down country bike, which I guess you could kind of do the 4.5, but like even more so with the Ranger.
Much, yeah.
But yeah, that's my answer.
It's a good
nice and
answer.
simple.
I like
Cool.
it.
Well, the next question is not quite as challenging, or maybe it is more challenging. If you could be any Maxxis tire, what would it be and why?
Easy.
What?
Ask the guy.
Let me
And
guess.
why?
Because Greg Menard made it.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's not. Yeah, that's my top answer. Jeff.
I'm torn between the DHF, just because it's like the iconic all-time winningest tire Maxxis has, and has been around for a long time. Originally designed by Colin
20
Bailey.
years.
20 years.
Wow.
Originally designed by Colin Bailey, which was an amazing U.S. World Cup downhill racer 20 years ago or something like that. That's just a famous tire. And it still, to this day, has a phenomenal tread pattern that is rivaling the best, grippiest tires on the planet. And every brand in the world has tried to copy it. But I'm also torn between the Dissector, because I just like the Dissector. It's fast, it's grippy, it's lightweight, I don't know.
I think you more so resemble the DHF, iconic, legendary, tried and true. To me, those things just say Jeff Caley.
I thought that's where he's going with that.
You're really greasing me up, Jared. You're really greasing me up. Thanks.
Yes, I do.
He wants that raise, baby.
Yeah, exactly. That's hilarious. All right, Liam, what do you got?
I mean, am I picking my favorite Maxxis tire to ride?
No, if you
that's
could
not the
be
question.
one.
It says if you could be anyone. Doesn't mean it's your favorite. Just
Like, do you
want to
be fast? Do you want to be grippy?
Do you want to be an ardent race?
Why do you laugh? That's a great tire.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone has.
I almost won Downeyville with that thing on the back.
Hard race?
Do you want to be trying to remember some like their plus bike tires, but I can't even think of it.
The Chronicle.
I'll
I'll be the Chronic.
Or the Colossus, isn't that one?
The Colossus.
I'm gonna go Minion DHR2 because it's a great all-arounder. Knob height's great.
Okay.
It looks mean, yet
Yeah, it's got
rolls.
purpose. It looks like it's got
purpose. It gets the job done whenever you need it to. That's like me.
Yeah. It's like,
all right, there you go.
Perfect. Put him in, coach.
Yeah.
All right.
Originally designed as a rear tire, but realized it works perfectly good in the front. And Greg Menard won a World Cup in South Africa running it in the front.
Actually, I would probably go to argue that the last 2 years, DHRs have won more World Cups than DHFs.
Wow.
Well, I mean, you can argue that or just figure out the data, because it probably exists somewhere. Someone knows the answer to that.
I'm quite factual on that.
You mean like as a front tire?
Well,
Yeah.
you can't be quite
Front-
factual. You can either be certain with a relevant set of data and a solid source, or you can just be
I look at all World Cup bikes and all World Cup winning bikes, and mental noted, DHRs are more winning than DHFs.
You're theorizing with your mental notes that
He's
I mean, I don't
confident.
disagree, but I'm just saying.
I'm confident.
You're theorizing.
I'm confident. Look it up.
Okay. Right.
Even riders that are not specialized.
Somebody look it up.
Even riders that are not sponsored by Maxxis choose to run DHRs front and rear with spray painted Maxxis.
If somebody looks this up and emails us extensive research on this topic, we will give you.
Don't even go there.
What? Just not that many people are going to do this.
Just one person who gets it to us first.
Who gets
First
it right.
person
First
who-
person to get it to
Do
us.
they get a Minion DHR?
Yeah, they get 2 free Maxxis tires.
Two
Two?
free Maxxis set,
All right.
a set of tires in your size.
Yep.
If you can get this data to us first.
Yep.
And if not, then
And that's
Email Jared at worldwidecyclery.com.
Podcast at worldwidecyclery.com.
if it goes to Jared, you'll be disqualified.
Podcast at worldwide. And my email has just changed.
Next question. Quickly and concisely.
Damn it,
Liam, you can probably hit this question the fastest. Without going into too much detail, difference between Fox Rhythm, Performance, Performance Elite, and Factory. I mean, high level, obviously, those are like different price points and they include different features. But like, how can you quickly and concisely just like, what the heck's the difference?
Fox Rhythm is mostly OE. I don't know a whole lot about it. but it's
OE means it's not really sold aftermarket. It comes stock on complete bikes purchased from.
lower level complete bikes. Not a whole lot of adjustment. Still works pretty good. Some trickle down tech. Then you have the performance line, which is
the least expensive.
The least expensive aftermarket option. Also very popular for stock bikes. Mostly come with a grip damper, which basically is open, some adjustment to closed, and one rebound adjustment. Then you have Performance Elite. So I'm actually going to jump over Performance Elite real quick and go to Factory, because Factory is like the nicest level of Fox. It's the highest level. It's what the pros race. It also has the Kashima coating. That's the main thing, the Kashima coating and the nice internals. Usually has more adjustment as well.
Like either a Grip 2 or a Fit 4 damper.
Grip 2, Fit 4, high-speed, low-speed compression, high-speed, low-speed rebound on a Grip 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to Performance Elite, which kind of combines performance and factory, in which you get the performance exterior look, no Kashima coating, but you get the internals of the factory. So it's kind of a great bang for your buck. It's a little harder to find, but if you can, it's a great option to save you, $100 or $150. So.
And it performs as, the same as factory, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like if you want the premium level Fox suspension, but slightly less expensive, and also to not be Kashima.
Yeah.
Or maybe match.
Because some people don't like the Kashima color.
Yeah.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
It is cool, but some people want
You
black.
got like a black theme going,
Yeah.
Performance Elite is legit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, I think I couldn't have put it any better myself.
Yeah. There you go. Dialed, right?
Yeah, it's Fox's Fox's thing. Web series. Good web series.
It is. It's really good.
Which do you dudes prefer? That's really hard to say.
Which do you
dudes prefer for cars / Subaru Crosstrek, roof mounted or receiver hitch? Pros and cons. So we actually made an entire YouTube video on that, which I thought was pretty well done. It was called like top 5 ways to transport your bike, or top ways to transport your bike, something like that.
Actually, I think we used a Subaru Crosstrek for a lot of the options.
I even used to have a Subaru
We showed
Crosstrek.
some roof racks. We showed some trailer hitch racks, some tailgate pads
trunk
on their
racks.
trunk racks.
Like the ones that with the straps and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, so we kind of went over all those in a video, pros and cons, and so I'd just recommend watching that YouTube video. Super useful.
I'm going to answer it really quick.
Go for
because
it.
I had this car.
The Crosstrek?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go with the receiver hitch because the number one main benefit is because you can get into parking garages and you will not rip the bikes off the top of your car.
And you can go through the Taco Bell drive-through without having the bikes smash into the
any
thing.
drive-through, any parking
Specifically
garage.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
The only bummer is that you can't get into your trunk, but most racks will tilt so you can get in there. But definitely.
What about the swingy thing? Doesn't Raven have one of those big swingy things? Those are kind of expensive.
Or the swing away.
I got it on my van.
But definitely a receiver hitch because the bikes on the roof are loud and they will reduce your fuel efficiency.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and then they get covered in bugs on there.
Yeah. I would just definitely go for the receiver hitch.
Roof-mounted rack is, in my opinion, like one of the least, that's like the last case scenario.
Yeah. Also, pro tip, the receiver hitch you can get online like super cheap and it's really easy to install yourself. So for the Subaru specifically.
You don't have to weld it?
No, it's bolts that just bolts into the frame, in the subframe in the rear. And
so my old van was. I installed it in the back of the shop in
maybe
45 minutes.
Exactly, yeah. So go the receiver hitch route and you will thank yourself.
Cool.
All right, next question.
What color is a mirror?
This is hard.
Can I come clean?
What?
This is my question.
Oh,
you put that in there?
I don't know. I wanted to answer. And if we didn't answer, I want a listener to answer because they're probably smarter than us.
I'll go first.
All right.
All of them.
All the colors? Isn't that black?
Yeah. All of them.
Yeah, I think he's right.
Because if you refract light off of it, it will show all of them. Prove me wrong.
Someone prove him wrong. I want him to be wrong. I can't prove him wrong. I don't know.
It's either all of them or none of them.
That's why I asked him.
Here's a crazy thing to think about.
I'd say it's a reflection of all colors, therefore it's not a color.
If you're standing in one position and I'm standing in another position, we're looking at the same mirror, we're seeing two totally different things.
Yeah.
Right? TV can't do that. We're both doing that at a TV. We're seeing the same TV screen, but a mirror showing two completely different things.
What's your point?
Different perspectives, different things.
Yeah, but this is factual. Perspective,
I'm just getting philosophical on you, man.
Well, let's save that for later.
Bikes. We're better at bikes. 2020 Intense Primer fell about 12 inches, similar to Jeff's gravel bike, and now the paint is effed. He has continued to ride it since. What do you suggest? Okay, so context there. When he says similar to Jeff's gravel bike, my gravel bike was at the beach, and I'd like propped it up on a rock with the pedal, and a gust of wind blew it over. And the top tube, when it blew over, it slammed on another rock that was sitting in the sand. And basically, it was essentially the same thing as if you took a hammer and just whacked the top of your carbon top tube. Like,
cracked it.
The bike is broken. Yeah, the top tube broken.
But you've been riding it.
I have like 1,000 miles on that bike since that happened.
So does he. I didn't write that down. I summarized this question. It's really long.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the top tube of all tubes on a bike probably has the least amount of pressure. I mean, we're not engine nerds, so we can't confirm that one.
Yeah, well, maybe not the least, but maybe not, the
I'd
highest
say if it's
concentration.
back from the head tube, it's probably lowers the load zone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I mean, disclaimer, if you have broken anything on your frame, stop riding it. But
in his case,
in your case, or even in my case, when you just don't want to buy a new bike because it costs a lot of money.
Well, I think he was kind of asking, is it actually cracked, and how do you know? And he keeps riding it.
Yeah.
If you take the back of a screwdriver and lightly tap down your frame, and then you get a dead spot, that usually means it's a pretty deep crack.
Yeah.
So
if you can push on it,
if it feels soft, if it feels soft, it's usually cracked.
I mean,
you can take it to Carbon Repair.
So I was going to say, I mean,
ship it to some people.
It's normally not that expensive for pretty basic carbon repair, and they can touch up the paint and stuff, right?
Yeah. I send a guy in LA. His name's Montenegro Manufacturing. Hearn. Name's Hearn. He's fixed 2 or 3 bikes for me in the past. He'll paint match and make it super legit.
Nice.
I've also had him just dude, just fix this thing as cheap as possible and send it back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He does a cool job.
Nice. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of really reputable carbon repair places out there.
Yeah.
Definitely check those out.
Yeah, I should probably do that with my gravel bike, my Salsa Cutthroat. But yeah, I just, it seems fine, and I just pay attention to it. It doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere. Yeah, it hasn't gotten any worse.
Also, put little Sharpie marks at the edge of the cracks, and if they spread, it's definitely cracked.
Mm.
If it doesn't spread, it could be paint, or it could be surface level carbon and not deep.
That's a good tip.
Legal disclaimer, we are not advising that you ride any broken bike.
And we're not responsible if you do and hurt yourself.
Exactly. Riding a broken bike may cause injury or death. Worldwide Cycler and MTB Podcast Incorporated are not responsible for this. Well, I think that's all we got for today. Thank you very much for listening. If you've made it this far, we genuinely appreciate it. And
we love you.
We love you. Thank you. I don't have any giveaways.
Not this time, except for the Maxxis tires. Figure out that data, and we will get back to you.
Yeah, figure out the data. But you need to, you can't just, BS us. You need to give us some legit data.
Factual data with,
photos or results with the people's, tires next to it.
Someone probably already
some proof.
Yeah.
It's probably out there.
It's probably out there.
Well, I mean,
I'm pretty certain that, it's what I said is true, so.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, honestly. I mean, yeah. So basically, it's either DHF or DHR2. What you're saying?
Well, in the last, however, you didn't even specify the exact number of years.
I said 2 years. Last 2 years.
Oh, that's not even that much data.
We can't even go 2019, 2020 because 2020 was a short season, and 2021. I believe there's more wins on a DHR2 as a front tire and a rear tire than there is as a DHF as a front tire.
You heard it here first, folks.
Sort of.
All right. Wrong.
Thank you very much for listening. We will see you guys next time, which could be in a month or less or more. Who knows?
Should be about that.
Thank you. See you later.
Signing off.
Good night.